you left, but you weren't talking about it.
No.
So, I mean, it's like a psychological pseudo-safety. You're away from the peril because obviously there's a benefit to no longer having to live under those circumstances. But if you don't do the processing, it's like they're still in the room with you. Right? That's so it's you're not living in the same place, but your nervous system didn't get the memo. So as far as you're concerned, they're still there. You're still walking on the eggshells. So how long was it before Westworld? Was that about 7 years?
That was Westworld.
That was the 7 years. What I want to understand is you're out, you're physically out, you're not talking about it. So psychologically, that's a long period of time. 6-7 years is a long time. What was that like?
Sorry, I don't know why I'm crying.
You never. We have a rule on navigating narcissism. Nobody gets to say I'm sorry.
Oh yeah. So. I think I'm getting emotional just because those years were some of the hardest because that was before I knew what was going on with me.
Yes.
And I immediately tried to, I got back together with an ex of mine that I had known before, that I was dating when I met Brian. And I think there was a part of me that just wanted to go back, just wanted to get back to where I was before. And to try and fix what was broken. And I didn't know how to describe what was happening with me or my body. I was definitely still programmed to respond and behave like I was in the room with Brian, for sure. And I think that really confused my partner because it seemed like I was being dishonest about things, and it seemed like I was, it wasn't safe to tell the truth with Brian.
Yeah.
And I think that carried on into my next relationship. Where I was just programmed to if I felt like I was going to get in trouble, or if I felt like I'd done something wrong, or if I felt like I didn't say the right thing, it was like, oh, well, here's the excuse, and here's me defending myself, and here's this, and here's this panic, and I think that comes across very alarming to certain people, and confusing, and I didn't know why I was doing that, why I was responding in these ways. I didn't know why I was so shut down. I didn't know why I was self-sabotaging and being impulsive and unable to be honest with him about certain things. Just completely programmed, and didn't know that I had PTSD. I was having night terrors. I would wake up screaming next to my partner and in sweats. And so it wasn't until I kept trying to have this normal life, and it just wasn't working. And all of these emotional problems and relationship problems and nervous system problems started popping up, that I realized I couldn't run from it anymore. And it took sort of everything falling apart, and my marriage falling apart, and becoming a new mom, that really changed everything. So that's what I was doing in between. Was just trying to move on, trying to have a normal life, trying to have a marriage. And then once I had my child, I was like, well, if you want to be a good parent, you got to work on yourself as much as possible.
Yeah.
Whatever issues might be in there, now's the time to sort of face them and get ahead of this as much as possible, so that you're not transferring anything onto your kid. And so it became really important to me to do self-work. Before then, I was just living in I don't know what's wrong with me. I think I'm going crazy. I think my partner thinks I'm crazy.
I mean, it is leaving what you did, wanting and craving normal. It is the most, it's what we expect somebody would want after that. But without doing that, the processing of the trauma, you're living in a permanent state of threat. So what you were describing as sort of those agitated reactions you'd have with your partner, 1,000% expectable, because your system was reacting to these situations as though they were dire cataclysmic threats.
Correct.
Everything makes sense, right?